Today we went geocaching in Marshfield. Geocaching is a treasure hunt that's in the woods. It took us about 0.4 miles to get to our first cache. The first cache we found today was hidden in a tree. It was about this big, about the size of a Tupperware container, and it was green. It kind of camouflaged with the tree. This was the biggest cache that we found today. All the other ones were micros. This one was a small, so it had prizes and stuff in it.
The last one that we found was in a tree, and it was hard to find because it was kind of camouflaged with the moss and stuff that was there. And there was this giant hole that in the path that we were trying to go in, and most people's feet were sinking in there, so it was making it harder for them to climb up. And in every single one of the bison tubes, there was this paper that you put your name in it once you found it.
Most caches we saw were on pine trees, so once I saw the only pine tree in the main area of Ground Zero, I started searching every inch of it until I found the bison tube, and that's when I stepped back and said whistle, and everybody else started to look in the area I was.
We walked 8/400ths of a mile to get to the logo VT B1, which is right in the background right there. We encountered wild strawberries and wild raspberries, which we ate.
8/400ths of a mile equals approximately 4,224 feet.
We are headed to B2, which is 1,300ths of a mile away from us.
When I'm on the road.
We walked about 600 feet to the cache logo VT B2, and it was a blue bison tube. And there were a lot of slugs around, and we had to walk through wild raspberries, and on the main path there were some wild strawberries. We're heading to B3, which is approximately 500 feet away.
Sing the parody of the Stretch song. Sing the parody of the Stretch song.
Geocache.
Found was hard because my GPS, it started to move lower in feet, and then it just turned off, so I had to use my GeoSense, and I started to think that I shouldn't look on the stuff in front, but I should also look behind. So when I got to about where my cell was, I started to look behind the trees, thinking that they try and hide it, and people would use the GPSs and they'd be knocking into the trees because it's right there, but it's just on the different side. And so that's how I found this cache.
5,280 feet equals 1 mile.
You read that?
I got a bold one in here. No! You ruined it. You ruined my mustache.
We're heading to BT logo B4.
It's approximately 600 feet from here before lunch.
When we found logo VT B4, Grace found it first, and we were in the complete wrong area, and we were kind of tromping through the ferns. But then she said, I already found it, so we went around and we spotted it pretty quickly. So it was pretty easy, we were just there on the spot.
After lunch, we decided to go to B5, which is approximately 750 feet away, which is 1,500ths of a mile.
1/10 of a mile equals 528 feet.
B5 sort of stumped us a little bit because there was really filled with bushes, and we had to go up this steep hill, which is right behind me, and there were bushes everywhere, and it was all the way across this meadow and stuff, so we couldn't really find it. So when we get back, we might look it up and see if we had the right coordinates.
For logo VT B6, none of us had the right coordinates, so it said it was a mile away, but we knew it wasn't a mile away because all the other ones were a lot closer than a mile, like a tenth of a mile. So none of us had the right coordinates, and I was the only one who had written them down, and no one else had brought their notebook. So we learned a lesson that we should bring our notebooks and have them all written down.
This cache, logo VTB7, was a little tricky to find because, one, it was on the other side of the road, and all of the other ones have been on this side of the road, and it was on that side of the road. And also, it wasn't a micro, it was a medium. So if you looked at the website, you knew what to look for, but if you didn't, it might be a little tricky. So we found it. It's pretty fun. There was swag in the geocache, little knickknacks that you can trade with. You have to make sure you have stuff to trade with, though. So and the logbook's bigger too, so it's nice to write on the bigger lines. 25 hundredths of a mile equals 1/4 mile. Park near 8, which we actually found is right there. So we walked all the way down to 1, which is a little under a mile, and then we walked towards the van to find all the geocaches, and then we landed right there for our 8th